out of the break for the fourth quarter. Rubisam completes a pass. That looks like it's right at the sticks. And it will be good for the first down. So after the 3rd and 2 play, we see a pass that goes for a first down, and Berthoud will continue this drive. They'll spot the ball at the 35-yard line of their own territory.
Yeah, they came out of the break and threw a nice out to the left side of the field right in front of the Fort Morgan bench. That was a nice catch.
So now Rubisam again in that pistol-like formation. He's got a man spread to this near side. He'll turn and hand the ball off, and it'll be an inside give, and it'll be thrown for a loss as Garrett Strobel wraps up the ball carrier and throws him backwards. They'll give forward progress to the line of scrimmage, and that is all. We'll see a 2nd and 10 here.
I think that Fort Morgan defense was fired up. That score gave them something to fight for. If they can hold Berthoud to a couple first downs and get the ball back, the game may be ours.
10:50 showing on the clock here in the fourth quarter. Fort Morgan leads 7-0 after scoring on their last drive. Check that. 2 men spread to this near side. A man in the backfield for Rubisam in the short shotgun, the pistol formation. Fort Morgan bringing pressure. Pass thrown and dropped as Rubisam had a man open through the middle of the field. It was Gregory Hutchins who had the ball hit his hands and fall out. And, oh, boy, would that have been a big play. But, unfortunately for Berthoud, it is dropped, and we will see a 3rd and 10.
Yeah, Hutchins had to go down. The ball was down at about his knees. It wasn't really well thrown, but he was wide open, and he should have been able to adjust if it hits his hands. Coaches say you ought to be able to bring him in.
Rubisam did a good job of stepping up and avoiding the pressure that the Fort Morgan Mustangs brought that time. We'll see the same formation as Hutchins will be nearest to us, and Ellis just inside him in the slot. Rubisam looking to pass. He comes to this near side. He'll be wrapped up, gets the pass away. It will be tipped and incomplete. Yuli Hernandez gets a hand on that. And we'll see a 4th and 10 play as the defense really starting to step it up here for Fort Morgan, like you said, Kevin.
Yeah, we wanted to see how Berthoud responded to that adversity. We're seeing how Fort Morgan's defense is responding to a little positive adversity or positive flow of the game on their side. It's a nice job of holding Berthoud to just 6 plays, and Fort Morgan's going to get the ball back in decent field position.
The punting unit comes out on the field, so it's not too fair to say the punter is Rubisam, so always the threat for a fake. A little bit of personnel issues here for Berthoud as they have a man come on late. Rubisam does punt. He will get it away after he is under pressure, and it's a decent punt. Fumbled that time by Yuli Hernandez. He falls on it, and he won't get it. The ball squirts away from him, and a big turnover there for Berthoud as they recover the botched fumble, the botched punt return by Yuli Hernandez. And Berthoud has new life. 10:18 showing on the clock here in the fourth quarter.
As a coach, you tell your players, let's get some positive momentum and then just make sure that we don't shoot ourselves in the foot. They've got to feel a little bit snake bit here and that they finally get a defensive stand, they finally get some momentum going, and then they must the punt return.
So after the good stand by Fort Morgan's defense, they have to go back to work here. Mustang football is brought to you by Premier Farm Credit, committed to serving those in production ag. Premier Farm Credit, the gold standard in ag lending. We'll see a timeout here taken by Berthoud, and we will step aside as well. You're listening to Mustang football on B106 and B106.com. Welcome back inside Maxmar Field here in Berthoud. We are here with Fort Morgan looking to play spoiler for their second homecoming game for the second time this year. It is Berthoud's homecoming, and not too many people have left the stadium as it is a close game. It is 7-0. Fort Morgan leads after the botched punt return by Yuli Hernandez. Berthoud has new life, and they will hand the ball off through the middle of the line. It looks like Woodill gets the carry. He plunges forward for a considerable game, and it'll be a 2nd and and 5.
Yeah, right off tackle on the right-hand side there. Dragged a couple Fort Morgan tacklers for the 5-yard gain.
So a little disheartening for this Fort Morgan defense as they put together a good stop, but they're back out on the field, and they really need to stand tough here. Rubisam will get the snap, fake the inside give, keep it himself, and will be swarmed under after gaining maybe a yard, and it'll be a third and 5.
Yeah, that Rubisam's a tough kid. Plays defense and comes back and plays offense right away. He's not afraid to dive in and get the tough yards.
Not to mention he is the punter as well, so a jack of all trades for Rubisam here. Dan McGinn really utilizing his best players at Berthoud. Rubisam will be in that pistol formation. He's got Woodiel in the backfield. 2-man spread, 4-man spread, 2 each direction. Rubisam looking to pass. He comes this near side. He throws, and it is incomplete. And we'll see a 4th down play coming up here.
Berthoud definitely in 4-down territory with under 9 minutes on the clock, trailing 7-0 in their homecoming game. Now we have some sort of rainfall or fog coming across the field, but it shouldn't affect the play. It's high enough.
It is moving, though. Well, we'll focus our attention back on the field as Rubisam receives the snap, looks to the near sideline, and the pass is incomplete, so a turnover on downs after the gift for Berthoud, and they're not able to capitalize. Fort Morgan will take over, leading 7-0 with 8:51 showing here in the 4th quarter.
Yeah, Rubisam has a good passing game first half, but that's his 4th incomplete in a row here in the second half. Fort Morgan has got to take advantage and take some time off the clock, give their defense some time to rest, and maybe score and put this game out of hand.
A score would definitely be nice. You don't want to score too quickly. You'd like to see a little bit more time come off the clock, but if they can get the points, I'm sure Harrison Chisholm would take that. Martin's under center. He'll turn and keep it himself on the option. Well, that was just a confusing play right there as Martin's faked the inside give and kept it himself on the option. And he gained no yards, so it'll be a 2nd down and 10.
Yeah, I think on that option, Berthoud did a really good job of covering all 3 options, and all Martin could do was try and dive it up the side and get a yard or 2.
Actually, they will give him a yard. So it'll be a 2nd and 9 play now as the ball is close to midfield. It's just on the Fort Morgan side of midfield. Martin's taking his time, waiting for the back judge to signal that the play clock is almost out. So good job of clock management here as Martin turns, hands it off to his deep man, Alexander, who will plunge forward off the right side of the line for a couple more yards. And it'll bring up a 3rd down.
Yeah, Alexander, the horse that carried him a couple weeks ago, not getting as many carries tonight, kind of splitting the runs between Martins and Alexander.
Mustang Football is brought to you by Northern Colorado Title. For all of your title needs, visit Tim Weimer at Northern Colorado Title at 205 West Kiowa in Fort Morgan. Martins breaks the huddle again. Will just stand behind his center. Sees the play clock going down. Will turn and hand the ball off to Jared Bohm, who's got a big hole through the middle of the field. A really long delay for Martins to hand the ball off to Bohm, but he saw the opening at the last second, and Bohm took the football and got the 1st down.
That was a nice read that time. The defensive tackle came outside to stop the outside play and left a big hole in the inside. I'd like to see Fort Morgan continue this up the middle, tough running, give their offensive line a chance to just fire off the ball and get Berthoud on their heels.
7 minutes, just under 7 minutes showing now here in the 4th quarter as Fort Morgan leads 7-0. Martins again waits to see the back judge's hand go up to signal the end of the play clock. He'll turn and hand the ball off to Bohm, who will go through the middle of the line, pick up a couple yards, and a second down.
Yeah, some tough running. Bohm hasn't really carried the ball very much earlier in the game because Miranda was doing it, but now they've got Bohm back in there, and he's running tough. Maybe he's fighting for his position back.
Berthoud still does have a couple timeouts, if I'm not mistaken. I believe they've only used one here in the second half. But a lot of time running off in between plays here. Martins turns, hands it off. No, keep it, and he passes down the middle of the field. Benita's got it. Check that. That's Fitzsimmons with the catch. A big play that time. Fitzsimmons makes the catch.
That's Snyder, T.J. Snyder.
Oh, it is T.J. Snyder.
His first catch of the game.
And he looks like he's hobbling off the field. He threw me off. Normally you see 32 is Fitzsimmons and Snyder is 23, so he's eligible on the play, and he makes the grab. And that puts the ball at the 15-yard line for Fort Morgan. So a huge pass play that time. And it's got Fort Morgan in business here inside the red zone with 5:42 on the clock and counting. Martins will turn and hand the ball off, this time to Fitzsimmons, who will dive through the middle and pick up a couple yards. We'll call it a gain of 2, and it'll be 2nd and 8.
You can kind of feel the air coming out of that Berthoud defense as they're, wondering what is going on. They didn't expect this kind of battle from a Fort Morgan team that's 2-2. But Fort Morgan, once again, playing better on the road.
Something that we have seen clearly evident this year is Fort Morgan does very well on the road at controlling the game and taking it to the other team. Martins will keep the ball himself this time as he goes off the far side. And he'll be brought down for a bit of a loss. And we'll see a 3rd and long.
Well, the clock is under 5 minutes. That's a positive. They're all the way down inside Berthoud's red zone. That's positive. I think if we can get this into a manageable distance, they might even, after that last kick, go for the field goal.
You could see Frick come on, although he has been shaky this year on PAT tries. He's yet to attempt a field goal. But from this distance and from what we saw out of him earlier, his leg looks really good tonight. 3 men in the backfield this time. Fitzsimmons gets it. He's off the left side. He's got room to run. He'll be down inside the 5-yard line to be 3. That's going to be good enough for a first down.
A huge run by Fitzsimmons. That gives a 1st and 10 inside the 5. Now they're almost guaranteed at some points. As long as they don't make any mistakes, Fort Morgan, the game is theirs.
The crucial point that you make right there, Kevin, is no mistakes. They have to play clean football here at this stage of the game. The clock goes under 4 minutes, and it is counting. 7-0 Fort Morgan leads, taking their time in the huddle.
I'm sure the Berthoud fans would remind us that Rubisan's got a good arm, and they've got quite a passing game. They could come back.
It wouldn't take long for him to make a drive. Fitzsimmons gets the ball. He goes off the right side. He's in for the touchdown.
Excellent playing off that momentum, telling those offensive linemen, let's just go up there and run it down their throats. Let's show them that we can do it. And several nice hard runs that drive.
A 3-yard touchdown by Fitzsimmons, and we'll see Frick come on to attempt the extra point. The hold is down, and I don't think he got it. Nope, Frick again with a late miss on a PAT. So the score is 13-0 here. Fort Morgan leads with 3:40 on the clock. We'll take a break. You're listening to Mustang Football on B106 and B106.com. Fort Morgan Football brought to you by West Tech Rentals. Whether you're a contractor or homeowner, West Tech Rentals is your source for rental equipment and landscaping materials. The Mustangs lead 13-0 here at Max Mar Field with 3:40 on the clock, and Frick getting ready to tee it up. This after a 3-yard touchdown run by Fitzsimmons. and Frick missed that PAT. He will send a high end-over-end kick, which will be fielded by Ellis at the 2. He'll run it up through the middle, now take off towards the far sideline where he'll be caught by a Morgan tackler, but not brought down until he falls forward for another 6 yards. The drive will start just at about the 33-yard line of Berthoud territory. And it'll be 1st and 10 with 3:32 on the clock.
Yeah, it was scary. He had some open field, and Fort Morgan player, all he could do is get a hand up, get a hold, a little bit of the jersey, and slow him down enough for his teammates to come and get on the bandwagon and pull him down.
The gang tackling crucial there. And we'll see a flag before the ball is even snapped. And it'll be a procedure penalty against Berthoud, so they'll move back 5 yards, and it'll be a 1st and 15.
For Berthoud, the old saying, when it rains, it pours. Here they're already in a tough situation, and they just make it that much tougher on themselves with ball start in the backfield.
Mustang football brought to you by Bijou T-Quest. Stop by 302 Main Street in Fort Morgan. Letter jackets, T-shirts, banners, and more. They're also your local experts customizing your team's sports apparel. We'll see Berthoud break the huddle. 3 men spread to this near side. Woodiel and Ellis among them, as well as Hutchins. Rubisom will roll this way, and he will launch a pass up. It'll be tipped, and it will fall incomplete. Armando Lopez again getting a hand on it. So he didn't exactly knock it down like you were taught. He tipped it up, and it almost fell into the hands of a waiting Berthoud receiver, but it does fall incomplete, and it'll be 2nd and 15.
Well, if you've ever watched a defensive backfield practice, they always have the tip drill where they throw the ball and one guy tips it up and the guy behind him catches it. You figure you've got the advantage of numbers on defense, but that one was a little bit dicey.
4 men spread wide, 1 in the backfield as Rubisom will receive it, and he'll hit his man over through the middle of the field. We'll get back to penalty yardage and a bit more, and now we start to see the hurry-up offense here for Berthoud. It'll be a 3rd and short after the complete pass. Rubisom, not wasting any time, gets the snap, is looking to pass again. This time Hutchins will catch it, and he'll be brought down immediately. Franco on the tackle there for the Mustangs, but Berthoud moving the football with 3 minutes exactly on the clock. As soon as the ball spotted, it will be set in motion.
Yeah, Berthoud running around like they really have to go fast. They're going to have to get a touchdown and a onside kick.
Again, we'll see a pass here for Berthoud. Goes for minimal yardage as Rubisom finds his man on the near sideline. That is Ellis with the catch. And it'll be a 2nd and 3 after the gain of 7. So all we've seen here on this possession is passes, and we'll look to see some more. Rubisom goes to the far sideline this time, and the catch will be made. Kingsley with the reception, and it'll be good for the 1st down.
1st down gives them the timeout that they need. They're down to 2.5 minutes. They're really moving the ball down the field in a hurry, but they're still going to have to get the ball back after they score.
A 2-possession ball game right now for Fort Morgan as they lead 13-0 with 2:28 and counting now on the clock. Rubisom dropped back to pass. That ball is hit in the air, and it will fall incomplete. The ball is tipped. Rubisom's arm looked like he got hit, and he is shaking it as he was moving it forward to throw the pass. Kind of a dead duck ball that was thrown up there, and it falls incomplete. We'll see a 2nd and 10 play.
Yeah, several Fort Morgan defenders that looked like they had a chance to catch that. That would have been end of story. Fort Morgan get a turnover here.
Yeah. Again, protecting the ball is something that Harrison Chisholm wanted to see out of his squad, and I'm sure Dan McGinn, the head coach for Berthoud, saying the same thing, protect the ball. You got to take a chance here to pass the ball, but you need to protect it as well.
I think it was Vince Lombardi that says you throw the ball, there's 3 things that can happen, and 2 of them are bad.
Rubisom again in that pistol formation. He'll drop back to pass, looking to the far side. He'll come back to this near side, and the ball will fall incomplete. Hutchins the intended target, but that ball was enough distance to get the touchdown.
That was close. The Fort Morgan defender kind of stopped and thought that he had it, and he misjudged it. It went over his head, and the Berthoud defender was behind him in the end zone.
I wouldn't be surprised to see Harrison Chisholm take a timeout here to kind of coach up his defense and tell him to play smart and not go for that interception, but to just knock the ball down and not allow Berthoud to get anything going. But we aren't seeing that now. A 3rd and 10 play here for Berthoud. Rubisam empties the backfield this time. He'll roll towards the near sideline, throw over the middle. It'll be caught by Ellis. And he'll be wrapped up and tackled by a gang of Mustang tacklers. But that's enough for the first down.
The homecoming crowd coming back alive, feeling like maybe there's hope for their team with 2:09 left and about 15 yards to the goal.
Coming up, the 9th play of the drive, all of them passes, and now we will see Fort Morgan take a timeout. So 2:09 on the clock, the Mustangs lead 13-0.
Yeah, I'd like to see Fort Morgan come out of this timeout and maybe be a little aggressive and send a lot more people. They were having more success when they were putting pressure on Rubisam.
Mustang football is brought to you by Insurance Connection. Whether it's health, life, or dental insurance, or Medicare supplements, see Sharon Kaufman at Insurance Connection. 2:09 remains on the clock here. The Mustangs lead 13-0.
Veterans, please stand up. Veterans.
Now the homecoming announcer is calling for veterans in the stands to stand up, and they're giving a rousing applause to all the veterans.
I feel bad because we are standing here. I don't want to take a cheap applause, but in order for me to gain a good vantage point on this game, I do need to stand up. 2:09 shows on the clock after the timeout. Rubisam drops back to pass. He'll throw it over the middle, and it'll be incomplete. Kingsley, the intended target, and we'll see a second down.
Looked like that was Snyder diving to knock the ball away at the last minute. I can't see the numbers from 100 yards away.
They are on the approaching the far end zone from where we are. Just to give you a little perspective, we are at the 20-yard line, obviously on the near side, and they are going into the opposite end zone from where we are. So it's a little bit difficult. We are at just above ground level. And we will see what Dan McGinn dials up here on this 2nd and 10 play.
Not sure what happened. The officials seem to have stopped the clock for a minute. Well, it was incomplete pass, but now they're talking to the further coaches, and Berthoud's taking their time coming to the line of scrimmage.
Well, I think that not enough time ran off the clock there. There was only a second that ran off the clock on that play, and I'm pretty sure that play took more than 1 second, but 2:08 shows on the clock. Rubisam gets the snap. He'll turn and fire to the right sideline, and it'll be complete to Hutchins. He'll be down just shy of the end zone, but it'll be good for another first down.
That first down stops the clock.
I believe, or might be a 3rd and short. It will be a 3rd and short.
He must have gotten out of bounds on that one.
Yeah, the clock did stop. 2:02 showing on the clock here. 11 plays so far on this drive. All pass plays. So Rubisam trying to make a little late magic here at the homecoming game here for Berthoud. Rubisam will hand the ball to Ellis. No, keep it himself. Rubisam does keep it himself, and it looks like he will be just short. He will have the first down, but he will not have the touchdown. The officials blowing the clock dead for the first down, but 1:57 shows on the clock now. So a little late life here for Berthoud, as that's the first running play of this drive. Rubisam will keep it himself again, dive forward, and he's in. Rubisam picks up the short yardage touchdown on the 1st and goal play.
And now he gets to hold the extra point, which will be pivotal. They need to get extra point on this one, and then if they get the ball back, an extra point on the next one to win the game. Hopefully Fort Morgan's got their hands teams practiced and ready to stop the onside kick.
We'll see the old swinging gate here as Rubisam is lined up as a quarterback. We could see two. No, they will shift now to the PAT try via the kick. Axel Ayala on the kick. Rubisam the hold. And it is blocked again, so a big block. That is the second kick blocked tonight by Fort Morgan. They blocked a field goal attempt and now a PAT try, so that keeps it at a 7-point ball game, 13-6. The Mustangs lead with 1:52 remaining.
And here Fort Morgan again has just got to do everything they can to get on this ball and get a hold of it. If they get it, they should be able to do a pretty good job of running the clock out. I'm not sure how many timeouts Berthoud has left, but if they have 2 timeouts, we're talking them getting the ball back after a punt with maybe 40 seconds left.
Mustang football is brought to you by Equitable Savings and Loan, Northeast Colorado's hometown savings and loan in Fort Morgan and in Brush. So 1:52 on the clock. We'll see what type of formation comes out here. Ayala will tee the ball up at the 40. How he tees it up is crucial to give away if it'll be an onside kick or not. We could see a little bit of a dribbler. The defense team is out for Fort Morgan.
Yeah, there aren't any numbers higher than 50 on the field for Fort Morgan at this point.
I see Frick in the middle here. Yuli Hernandez as well. And we will see an onside kick attempt. It will be handled by Fort Morgan, and they will recover the onside kick. It almost looked like that ball could have gone out of bounds. But in any effect, Fort Morgan has the football with 1:49 showing on the clock.
It was your traditional onside kick trying to angle it towards the sideline, but it went at a little too deep of an angle and got about 10 yards past the 50-yard line, and Fort Morgan was able to get on it without really being hit.
And not what you traditionally see in it popping up at the end. It was just a low-line drive kick. So Fort Morgan will take it over. 1st and 10. 1:49 showing on the clock here. Martins will go under center turn, and he fumbles the football. He will recover it himself, so a brief scare. If anything, though, that does get the clock moving, and we'll see a 2nd and 11 play.
Yeah, lost 1, but he held on to the ball. Berthoud seems to be wanting to wait and use their timeouts maybe on offense.
I think what you do here, if you're Dan McGinn, the head coach for Berthoud, you try to get them to a 3rd and long play, and that's when you take your timeouts. Martins will go under center. He'll turn and hand the ball off to Alexander. He goes off the right side, and he's got a big hole. He's down past the 40 to the 30. He turns the corner to the 20, but it will be brought down at the 15-yard line. A big gain for Nate Alexander. And that all but seals up this victory for Fort Morgan with 1:02 showing on the clock, up 13-6.
Yeah, he broke it out to the right and then did a great job of outrunning 2 Berthoud defenders. The last one just got the angle on him very last minute and brought him down at the 14.
So a huge back-breaking play, and you can almost see the dejection on the faces of the Berthoud players. Yes, we are close enough to see their faces through their helmets.
52 yards on that nice run. Now Fort Morgan can pretty much just kill the clock.
They will go into that. Oh, it's a modified victory formation. No, they will run it. Alexander will go through the middle. Right side, he'll dive at the goal line. Oh, check that. That's the 5-yard line. He'll be just inside the 5-yard line, and it'll bring up a 2nd and short.
I think Fort Morgan's saying, we're ready for more. We're not going to just sit on this. And the Berthoud, you can hear a pin drop in the stands.
The cheerleaders really the only ones cheering right now.
Well, Berthoud will be starting their league play next week, too, and they have a tough side to theirs. They're at Silver Creek next Friday.
A big test for them as Silver Creek is playing Windsor tonight. Alexander again will get the ball. He'll move off the right side, and he's in for the score, sealing the victory with 9 seconds left on the clock. That'll put the score at 19-6, and Fort Morgan's going to walk away with another road victory here in 2011.
Yeah, Berthoud's almost standing around looking like they thought with a 7-point lead, Fort Morgan was just going to take a knee and run out the clock. But if you're out there to play football, you keep running the ball. It's not like they tried any trick plays to run up the score.
And also, if you're Harrison Chisholm, you need to send a message to that Windsor squad that you're playing next week, that you're here to play throughout the game. We'll see an offsides play on the PAT here, so it'll be a little bit closer of a try for Frick.
Well, you know it's over when you see the coaches from the press box coming down to join the team on the sidelines.
So after only 4 plays, Fort Morgan punches it in to seal the victory. Frick puts up the kick, and it is no good. So again, the troubles for Frick, though meaningless here, can be disturbing if it comes down to him in the late part of the game with the game on the line.
Absolutely. You never want it to come down to having to score a 2-point play, 2-point conversion, just because you missed one earlier.
So a lot of people heading towards the exit here at Maxmar Field in Berthoud, as Fort Morgan has a 19-6 advantage with just 9 seconds remaining in the game. Stick around for the postgame show. We'll tell you how we got to this point of 19-6.
Yeah, I think you'll see Fort Morgan probably squib kick this, unless he really feels like he can put a leg into it and put it in the end zone. You don't want to give them a chance to run the ball, even with 9 seconds.
We've seen some good returns out of Berthoud tonight on the few attempts that Frick has had. One, a touchback, but another good return could be devastating. This one will be fielded in the end zone, and it will be a touchback. So, Frick with his second touchback on the night, as Ellis couldn't stay out of the end zone when he fielded that. And it will be Berthoud ball, 1st and 10 at the 20-yard line. Down 19-6 with just 9 seconds left to play in the game.
Fort Morgan has played a really good second half, has come out and done the things that we talked about them needing to do. They've ran the ball hard, mixed it up on offense, and got some momentum going into the season that counts, the league season.
We'll see a 4-deep look for Fort Morgan as Lopez, Franco, and a pair, Bohm, is deep. We'll see the pass completed but out of bounds, so it won't count. 4 seconds left on the clock. Ellis made a good grab on that, but he was out of bounds. And this will be the last play of the game. 4 seconds left on the clock. And Fort Morgan, again, with a very good performance on the road, will go back to Legion Field next week and take on Windsor, where they haven't been as successful, Kevin.
Well, I think if you look at the Fort Morgan schedule, somehow all the really good teams that they're playing are playing in Fort Morgan.
Again, we'll see a pass play here, and that ball will be incomplete. The clock shows zeros, and Fort Morgan comes away with a big road victory here tonight. 19-6 the final. All the scoring happening in the second half. We'll take a break, and then we will come back for the post-game show. 19-6 again, the final. We'll have second half stats and analysis when we come back here on B106 and B106.com.